The legend. Amidst the scorched sands of medieval Persia, there is a legend spun in an ancient tongue. It speaks of a time born by blood and ruled by deceit. It is within this war-torn land that a young prince discovers a magic dagger. Drawn to its dark powers, he is led to unleash a deadly evil upon the reaches of his father's vast kingdom. Aided by the wiles of a seductive princess and the absolute powers of the sands of time, the prince stages a harrowing quest to reclaim the palace's cursed chambers and restore peace to the very fabric of time itself. He must tread these dangers carefully, however, because in this world there is only one rule: master the sands or be buried. Characters. The Prince, the youngest son of King Shahraman of Persia. A gifted athlete and swordsman, the prince is eager to prove himself in battle. Instead, his desire to win honor and glory leads him inadvertently to unleash an evil force upon his father's kingdom. Saving the day will take all his wits, agility, and courage. Farah, the beautiful daughter of a conquered Indian Maharaja. Farah has every reason to hate the prince, who has destroyed her world. But the prince has the Dagger of Time, the only weapon that can defend against the horrors he has unleashed. So Farah must stay close to him if she wants to survive. The Vizier, a traitor to the Maharaja's service. The Vizier tricks the prince into opening the forbidden hourglass, unleashing the sands of time upon an unsuspecting world. Now the Vizier wants the Dagger of Time to fulfill his ultimate diabolical plan. The Sands of Time. The sands of time are a terrible, primordial substance that changes and corrupts every living thing it touches. Only through the Dagger of Time can the awesome might of the sands be harnessed. The Dagger of Time confers extraordinary powers on its possessor, enabling him or her to seamlessly bend the fabric of time itself. The Hourglass. Long ago, in the age of myths, the sands of time were sealed away within an impregnable hourglass. When the prince commits the unimaginable sin of unlocking the hourglass, releasing the sands, the reason for this precaution becomes evident. The Dagger. More than a weapon, the Dagger of Time is the only container besides the hourglass that is strong enough to hold the sands of time. Whoever wields the dagger is granted the power to control time by using up the sands within. Sand creatures. No living thing is immune to the destructive powers of the sands of time. Contact with the sand will transform any man, woman, or beast into a sand creature, a hideous mockery of its original form. Incapable of speech or feeling, sand creatures are driven by a blind, single-minded instinct to hunt down and kill anything that lives. Because sand creatures are not alive, they cannot be killed. They can, however, be destroyed with the Dagger of Time. The Vizier, Farah, and the Prince are the only inhabitants of the Sultan's palace to escape transformation by the sands of time. They are protected by 3 artifacts as ancient as the hourglass itself: the Vizier's staff, Farah's bow, the Prince's dagger. Even though the book says Farah's bow, I do think they might mean Farah's amulet or talisman. The Dagger of Time. Whoever holds the Dagger of Time gains extraordinary powers to bend and control the fabric of time itself by using up the sands within. Powers of the Dagger of Time. The power of revival, rewind, allows you to undo your mistakes, even your own death, by traveling back to a time up to 10 seconds. The power of delay, slow motion, slows down time for everyone around you, giving you a slight but important edge in combat. The power of restraint, freeze, stops time for a targeted enemy, allowing you to dispatch him or her with impunity. The power of haste, mega freeze, stops time for the entire world, allowing you to wreak havoc on all your enemies at will. The power of destiny, visions, allows you to behold startling visions of the future. Using the dagger. To use the powers of the dagger, you need to have sand in the dagger. Rewind. The first power of the dagger. Press and hold the L1 button to turn back time. When you reach safety, release the L1 button to resume play. Each rewind uses up one sand tank. Retrieve sand. Refill sand tanks by retrieving sand from defeated sand creatures or loose sand clouds. Press the triangle button to retrieve sand. Each retrieve fills one sand tank. The dagger can gain additional powers throughout the course of gameplay. The more you use the dagger, the more powerful it becomes. Game interface. Life bar shows the prince's current state of health. Hard falls, enemy attacks and traps all cost the prince life. If your life bar reaches empty, it's game over. Unless of course you undo the mishap by rewinding. Replenish the life bar by drinking water from a fountain or other sources. Sand tanks shows how much sand is in the dagger. Each rewind empties one sand tank. Each time you retrieve sand from an enemy or a sand cloud, it fills one sand tank. The dagger is also capable of growing new sand tanks in the course of the game. Power tanks. When you have retrieved enough sand, the dagger grows its first power tank. Sand contained in power tanks cannot be used to rewind, but gives you new powers including slow motion and freeze. Power tanks, like sand tanks, can be refilled by retrieving sand from enemies. Time circle shows how much time is available to rewind. A full circle represents 10 seconds, also serves as a time of slow motion and mega freeze. Farah's bow. Farah can sustain only a certain number of hits from enemies before her bow breaks. If that happens, the next blow will kill her and it's game over, unless you can save her by rewinding. Don't forget, you have the dagger. As long as you have sand in the sand tank and time in the time circle, the game's not over, even if you're dead. Rewards. Sands of Time. The same sand that flows in the veins of sand creatures can also be found loose, swirling throughout the palace. You may be lucky enough to encounter sands of time in the following forms. Sand vision. A sand vortex may form in a particular place either spontaneously or as the result of a successful fight against sand creatures. Entering a sand vortex will give the prince a brief hallucinatory vision of the future. These visions give the prince a glimpse of the dangers and opportunities that lie ahead as he finds his way through the palace. They also offer the player an opportunity to save the game. Sand cloud. When you see a cloud of loose sand like this one, grab it. Collecting 8 sand clouds will cause the dagger to grow an additional sand tank, permanently increasing its capacity to hold sand. Water is life. Drinking water from a fountain or other source will restore a wounded prince to health. Press and hold the R1 button to drink as much as you need until your life bar is fully replenished. Fountain, water pool, magic fountains. The prince can never be sure whether magic fountains are real or a figment of his imagination. One thing, however, is certain. Each time you drink from a magic fountain, it will permanently lengthen your life bar. Traps. It is said that in all of Persia, there is no host more generous than the Sultan of Azad. To protect the glories of his magnificent palace, the Sultan has built a defense system designed to shred the soldiers of any attacking army. From the moment these defenses are activated, the prince ironically finds himself a most unwelcome guest. Here are some of the traps the prince will encounter as he strives to save the palace of Azad from the sands of time. Failure to evade a trap could result in injury or death. The prince's attacks. Multi-enemy combat. When surrounded by many enemies, use the left analog stick to target a particular enemy. It is not necessary to turn to face the enemy before you attack. For example, to retrieve sand from an enemy behind you, simply point the left stick toward the enemy and immediately press the triangle button. The agile prince will do the rest. Basic moves. Attack. Sword. Use the left analog stick to target the enemy, then press the square button to strike with your sword. Your sword can hurt sand creatures, but to finish them off you need to use the dagger. Retrieve Sand, Dagger. When you have knocked down a sand creature with repeated sword strikes, press the triangle button to strike with the dagger and retrieve the Sands of Time. This destroys the enemy for good and also refills one sand tank. Block. Press and hold the R1 button to block. For as long as you hold the R1 button, your sword will deflect all enemy attacks from all directions. Later in the game, you may encounter enemies powerful enough to break your block. Advanced attacks. Vaulting attack. Push the left analog stick toward your enemy, then press the X button to vault over him. As you start your descent, press the square button to strike your enemy from behind. Later in the game, you may encounter enemies that can counter your vaulting attacks. Vaulting attack and retrieve. Follow up a successful vaulting attack by pressing the triangle button or dagger to do a quick retrieve and destroy the enemy. Counter attack. Press and hold the R1 button to block. Wait until your enemy strikes, then press the square button to launch a devastating counter attack. This takes a bit of practice, but if properly executed, you can floor enemies with a single blow. Later in the game, you may encounter enemies that can counter your counter attacks. Wall rebound attacks. When fighting near a wall, you can use the walls for rebound attacks. Point the left analog stick toward the wall and press X and square to launch a rebound attack straight at the enemy, or X and X to rebound and jump over the enemy's head. Counter retrieve. Press and hold the R1 button to block. Then, at the moment of your foe strikes, press the triangle button to do a quick retrieve and destroy the enemy. Power attacks. The following attacks will become available once the dagger grows its first power tank. The more you retrieve sand over the course of the game, the more power tanks you can get. Slow motion. Needs one full power tank. Tap the L1 button briefly to go into slow motion. This gives you an advantage over your enemies. Freeze and slice. Needs one full power tank. Press the triangle button to strike an enemy with the dagger. This will freeze him in time. Then, while he is at your mercy, press square and square to set up and slice your foe in half, destroying him utterly without needing to do a retrieve. Mega Freeze. When you have grown a full complement of power tanks, this gives you the ability to go into hyperspeed, stopping all your enemies. Mega Freeze consumes all your power tanks, but in the right situation, it is worth it. Press and hold the R1 button, then press the L1 button for the Mega Freeze. Use the left analog stick to target enemies, then square button and square button to finish each one off in turn. Hints and tips. Don't forget to block. When fighting, press and hold the R1 button to protect the prince from most enemy blows. During combat, don't just stand in one place. Use the prince's acrobatic abilities to stay on the move, dodging, vaulting over enemies, and pushing off walls for rebound attacks. Pay attention to the cinematic presentation of each new place the first time you enter. The camera's path is a clue as to where the prince needs to go. If you get stuck, try replaying the most recent vision for clues as to what to do next. Always keep an eye out for sand clouds, visions, and hidden entrances to magic fountains. Sword upgrades are available as you progress. Don't forget to rewind. Take advantage of slow motion to help you fight and to avoid traps. Use the first-person camera to look around and the landscape camera to get a big picture of where you are. Don't fight your enemies one by one. When surrounded by many enemies, a more effective tactic is to divide your attacks among them in quick succession, using the prince's superior agility to your advantage. Things you already know about the Sands of Time. A long-buried secret. In the level A Long-Buried Secret, you can find a secret breakable wall before entering the baths. Break this wall to unlock the original Prince of Persia, released in 1989 by Jordan Mechner. This secret is only obtainable on the console port of the game and cannot be found in the PC port, but the wall still produces sparks when struck. Spikes. Walking over spikes allows you to pass them safely. Do not run, you'll only activate them. The game tells you this, but I'm sure you ignored it just like I did for years. Counter-attacking. Just like spikes. I'm sure the game informs you about this and it's visible in the vision, but it's easily ignored. While blocking, wait for the enemy to attack, then strike just before your blades meet. This is all about timing, so it's going to be difficult to achieve, especially when managing multiple enemies at a time. Reduce combat time. Off-the-wall attacks or rebound attacks help you reduce combat time. Most enemies cannot block these attacks, so using it means you won't have to be stuck in the game's combat loop for very long. It's very useful against the larger enemies and even groups, sometimes. Drinking water. Hold the interact button to continue drinking water until your health bar is full instead of pushing it multiple times to refill. Faster rewind. Rotating the left analog stick allows you to rewind time faster. I only found out about this recently, after years of playing the game. So my thoughts. The holster animation. I find the holster animation a bit annoying, which is why during my playthroughs I would mash the holster button to quickly sheath my weapons after defeating the last enemy. The Power of Restraint. My advice when using this ability would be to knock enemies down quickly and retrieve their sand when they return to normal while they are on the ground. Don't waste the ability by quickly killing enemies and not gaining sand. I mean, do it if it looks cool, but sand is limited, so be cool wisely. The OST. I never noticed that the OST has light rock elements growing up, so hearing them now, especially knowing where the franchise goes from here, is appreciated. Fluidity. The game has an amazing sense of fluidity on both consoles and PC. When I say consoles, I do mean the PS2 port, since it's the only one that I've actually been exposed to. This goes for combat and reversal animations, which is something I was a bit concerned about when looking at how stiff the animations are for the trailer of the remake. The door maze. I'm very sure that the door maze in the tomb has a pattern, and I can kind of like solve the first floor or the bottom floor without an issue, kind of, but the second floor always gets me. I never actually bothered to memorize the pattern over there, but I'm pretty sure there is a pattern, and it's all, again, it seems like it has to do with numbers. I'll eventually learn it, but not now. I've played through this game multiple times while growing up, and I tend to do an annual visit to the franchise, but I've never actually taken the time to read through the booklets supplied with the game. This time, I've read through it and I've learned quite a bit about some of the characters. Like how it states that the prince is the youngest son of the king, implying that he has siblings. I always thought that the older brother Malik in the Forgotten Sands was a character they tacked on and forgot to mention before, but now I see that I was wrong. Besides learning more about the characters, the world and gameplay, I'm also starting this series as a way to improve my confidence in my reading and speaking, specifically when it comes to speaking in my videos. I intend to make similar videos like this in the future, with the aim to learn as much as I can about this video format, improve as I go along, and possibly start writing my own scripts on topics that I'd like to talk about. Thank you for watching and listening, and I hope to see you around again soon. The dagger can gain additional powers throughout the course of gameplay. The more you use the dagger, the
stronger he will become.